Absolute beginners. This is going to be lesson 5, a very simple intro to materials. We can start to add a little bit of color to our scenes. To be honest, usually I wait until my scene is fully constructed, but there are people who like to add some simple materials as they go if it helps them to visualize. In either case, this is a good way to get started with your materials. So here's our scene that we started already with the table and the simple cube, camera, standard light that's already set there. Right now we're in object mode. This is just exactly where we left our scene off. If you go over here to the right hand side, we have some toolbars. We have a lot of different tabs over here. The one that we're going to concern ourselves with today is this little circle down here at the bottom. It almost looks like a checkerboard wrapped around a sphere. That is our materials tab. So you can see it in object mode, and if you go into edit mode, it's down here at the bottom. So if I click on my materials tab, this is just our standard material. If I was to change this one, it would be changing the standard default material for the whole scene. I don't necessarily want to do that. So what we're going to try to do is to add some materials. You can add, you can remove them, and that's actually really, really helpful. You can scroll down, you can make this longer as you build a larger materials library, and different things that you're working with. You can assign things, you can select, deselect, and so on. There's also a little preview, but honestly, I usually look at how it's going to render, so that's, a matter of preference. But all right, let's discuss. So if I grab the little plus sign over here, I'm going to add a new material. So I hit the plus sign, this pops up, and I'm going to add a new material. This pops up, material.001. Fine. So we have the surfaces set to use nodes. We will get further into that. Right now, we're just going to mess with some of the options in here. So we have our base color, which right now is set to this sort of standard light gray. It looks, honestly, it looks almost white in the scene. In this little tab over here, light gray in the scene. And let's see how that renders. So if we go render image, this is fine. So this is just a standard Lambert, and it's got this sort of matte, diffused lighting. It doesn't have what we would call a hard specular highlight, which means like a reflective surface, like glass or metal or plastic potentially, where you can actually see the light reflecting in a much harder way, as opposed to this kind of diffused soft way. This is fine. I don't mind this for now, but we can absolutely tweak it. So the first thing that we're going to do is change the base color. I can change this. Let's do, I don't know, like a pink so we can see it. You can change the subsurface, the radius of how that kind of spreads, and you have a ton of options. Maybe we'll make it a little metallic. That would be sort of cool. I'll put that at 0.75. I'll make it, I don't know, another 0.75, make it a little more strong on that highlight. You can change the color of the specular tint. So like if you want, I don't know, a chromier look or like a green shine to the pink, I don't know, whatever, you have that option. And you can change every single one of these things. You can add, clear coat is kind of cool. We'll do 0.5 on that. But honestly, you can mess with these options to get the look of whatever you'd like. There's also a ton available online for if you're looking to make particular materials, glass or metal or things like that. For now, we're just gonna mess with it and see what we like. And all of these are options for how to make that look. There also is an option to change it in the viewport display. That's really just for this. You might want to do this if you're doing very complicated textures or materials that you're not going to see in the viewport, but that you want to know. Like I might set this to bright green if I knew that I wanted it to be a very complicated thing that I wasn't going to render. If I was working on a scene with a lot in it, like if I wanted to be able to see in the viewport which part had that complicated texture. So anyway, I'm not going to deal with that for now. We're going simple for today. So we haven't actually done anything yet. Right now I am in face mode, which you see because I have the face up here at the top. selected. We're in edit mode. We got the face mode selected. We've got all these little options. What I'm just going to do is select the top face of this so we can see. And right now you see it's on just our standard default material. If I click on material .001, I'm just going to rename this pink, even though you can kind of see it. I think it's a good standard to start renaming things. And I'm going to hit assign. Assign. If I render image, boom, he shows up pink. So it's pretty cool, and you can see a little bit of some of those details that we've added so far and tweaked and how different it looks in that table, that standard there behind it. Now I only had that one face selected and assigned to it, so that's the only one that it showed up as, which can be helpful or not helpful. You want to make sure that whatever you want to have the color changed and have this material assigned actually is selected when you're going in and doing that. Now, if you do miss something, it's really not that big of a deal. You can go back in, let's say I want that one now, and you can just hit assign. Now, the problem is, because I didn't do viewport display for any of these, it's not popping up there. You do have the option to go back in and change that, or to assign this color again to that so you can see what's where. But for now, if we render it, now you can see where I've added that one as well. So you can have a ton of fun doing this. We can also begin, when we talk about lighting, we can begin to add different sorts of lights to the scene, which is so cool. And you can make really dramatic effects, really fun effects, and totally change the mood of the scene that you're creating. But for now, we're going to start simple. We're starting here. Let me know if you have any questions.